Okay, in lecture 2, we will go through international trade, principle of comparative advantage, trade policies, free trade versus protectionism, and balance of payments. For example, a person has absolute advantage at a particular task if he or she can perform the fewer hours than the other ones. A person has a comparative advantage at a particular task if his or her opportunity cost of performing the task is lower than the other person's opportunity cost. Comparative advantage doesn't just care about your skill at the task, but about your skill at that task compared to your skill at other tasks. Total value of output increases the specialization and trade. For example, there is one principle of comparative advantage which says everyone is more productive when each person or each country, we can say each country, concentrate on the activities for which his or her monetary opportunity cost is the lowest. Just imagine here, Joe Johnson, highly successful lawyer, employs another lawyer. His name is Bill, to write his will. Writing his own will, it takes 2 hours. Opportunity cost of 2 hours is 5,000 of missed chargeable work. Hiring Bill to spend 4 hours on Joe's will is 1,000. So Joe's opportunity cost is less than her cost. So for this reason, Joe Johnson is willing to hire Bill in order to write his will. So source of comparative advantage can be different. For example, natural resources. For example, England has good resources in order to cultivate potatoes, but for Middle East or Asia, and they have comparative advantage of oil. Capital accumulation, division of labor, for example, China and India. Talent, natural and acquired aptitudes. Institutions, for example, UK banking. Without trade, each person can consume only along their own production possibilities. What you produce determines what you consume, so you cannot go beyond what you have produced. With trade, each person's consumption can be greater and more varied. So to maximize use of scarce resources and maximize economic welfare, we will go to do trade with the other countries, with the other companies, with the other people. Produce according to comparative advantage is so important. Trade can be controversial. Trade benefits society broadly. For example, it's beneficial for all the people who are living in the society. Costs are concentrated. Some industries suffer and people lose their jobs. Specialization is easier when markets are connected. Transportation and communication, legal framework, financial facilitators enable startups, and governments reward encourage enterprise. Protectionism, trade policy arguments, economic, political, ethical, trade rules, active, aggressive, passive, winning, neglect, defensive. What do economists say? From a global perspective, free trade increases total output. International trade provides competition for domestic companies. Why? Because they are going to compete with the foreign companies. So maybe foreign companies that are doing well. So it makes incentive and encourage domestic companies to bring some development into their company, improve their performance, and bring new products or services. Restrictions based on national security are often abused or evaded. Trade restrictions are addictive. Okay, are deficits meaningful? What does it mean when we say that trade deficit? Okay, running a trade deficit presents problems in the long run. Some economists are not worried about it. If a country runs a trade deficit year after year, eventually the long run will arrive and the country will run out of the assets to sell. If the country prevents higher unemployment associated with the long-run trade deficit with the expansionary policies, they might lead to a financial bubble and a difficult period of structural adjustment. But is the trade balance a good measure? Why is there no trade balance between Yorkshire and Lancashire? So, when are deficits meaningful?